Hi, this is Loretta, and I'm filming a video today for Scrapbooking with Me Boutique over on Facebook. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check it out. They've really got some super awesome products over there. Anyway, this is my design team project for last month's kit. I was working with the Bo Bunny Primrose collection, and if you guys want to see the video that shows everything that came in our design team kit, I will link that down below. You guys, this is a massively huge project, so I am gonna have to make you guys dizzy, I'm afraid, because I'm gonna have to go ahead and take the camera off of the tripod so that you guys will be able to see. I'm going to scoot it over now, and you guys, this is absolutely massive. And what I did is I bought a Lazy Susan, and I'm going to go ahead and take the camera off of the tripod. I bought a Lazy Susan at my local flea market. I collected all kinds of things, mason jars, a little tiny sewing tin, a big coffee can that I asked my husband to keep up with. I put a doily onto the Lazy Susan. I hope I'm giving you guys a good view of it. Absolutely love this paper. I'm going to go a little bit closer in so that you guys can see that it does spin. And I absolutely love it because it keeps everything at my fingertips that I really, really need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to reposition the camera on the tripod, and I'm going to try to go over everything with you guys. So if you will just stay tuned, be right back. Okay, and no matter how far away I get from this, I'm pretty much going to be stuck. It's going to be really difficult to show you this whole Lazy Susan. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take each item off. But before I do that, I do want to show you guys that I put letters on this, starting with this jar, that say Create, C-R-E-A-T-E, because that's what I'm going to do. Let me go ahead and start first with this. What started this whole thing is that I found and fell in love with this at Hobby Lobby. And it's just a little turning caddy. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. Found some really awesome vintage lace at my flea market. And I went ahead and added that to the caddy. I've also added flowers right here. These are Prima that I added around the little graphic of the girl. And this caddy matched so absolutely perfectly with the Primrose collection by Bo Bunny that I just had to use it. On this next cup, I added a Tim Holtz bird cage and some of that beautiful bling that was included in our kit. And again, I will link you to that so that you can see the bling. It is available in the store, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then I added some pearl trim, and I also added a really cute charm that has well, that mimics, I guess you could say, some of what's on there. So anyway, that's the little caddy that I got from Hobby Lobby. And okay, so let's go ahead and start with the C. This was made by Elise. Hey, Elise. In a swap that we did, and I just absolutely loved it. The colors were perfect. I just added a little bit of antique lace, a flower, and the sea. And the rest of this is her beautiful work. And she painted the mason jar, and I did fussy cut a piece of the Bo Bunny primrose paper here to add to it. And this is some letters that I had in my stash. And this is a Prima flower that I took a distress marker in Tattered Rose, and I just went over the edges and then used a water brush to fan that color out. And I just love how that came out. So super cute. Next little mason jar is the R jar. In our kit, they varied from kit to kit, but I got a package of vintage finding keys from Prima, and I just love them, and I used every one of them on this project. I cut the strip along the bottom of the paper that says Primrose, and I just made a little band with that. I put some vintage lace here and also at the top, along with a little bit of seam binding and some hemp cord. I painted, although you can't really see it very much, but I did paint and distress this in the colors of the paper. I painted, I sanded, I crackled. So I just really do love how it turned out. So that's the R jar. This is a little half of a tin that I got from eBay, along with some vintage sewing materials. And I've always got small things on my desk. This is a little, I'm sorry I'm off camera, this is a little threader, needle and thread. Yes, I do have an old-fashioned eyelet setter. I do have a crocodile too, but I find that I use these sometimes, so I've still got them around. So this is to hold on my desk just the little items that I may lose on my desk as I'm working with them. Okay, and then this next one is the E. And you guys, it's the big coffee can, and I absolutely adore how this turned out. It holds my crocodile, my Tim Holtz stapler, my hammers, my corner chompers, some lighter fluid, my big Martha Stewart shears. So this is a go-to all the time. This beautiful flower right here was made by Elise, and I absolutely love it. I've got down here 2 Prima flowers, and here's one of those Prima keys. This is some antique lace, and in between each one are some pearls that we got in a little bag of doodads from the boutique, and I went ahead and sewed those onto this antique lace. I fussy cut some of the elements from the paper. I covered the coffee can with the designer paper, and I absolutely adore how that turned out. I've got on the side of the coffee can some bling, and that was included in our design team package. So really happy with how that turned out. So moving along, the next jar that we have, everything has the antique lace that I found from the flea market. I cut one of the borders out from the designer paper, and I went ahead and added some vintage lace here and here. Fussy cut this from the designer paper. Again, this is one of the vintage finding keys, and this is some seam binding that I got from the boutique, along with some jute ribbon. And this holds all of my pliers and my jeweler's tools and that sort of thing. And it also is the A in the next part. Okay, so this next little jar holds my rub-on tool, my stylus, and some of my favorite journaling pens. I went ahead and made a banner out of the bottom part of the paper. The designer paper says Primrose, and I inked that up and then placed that on a piece of foam tape. Again, I did paint and distress all of these jars. I got that idea from Elise. And on binding and some antique lace, little piece of jute, and one of those vintage finding keys. So absolutely adore how, I just love how this little caddy turned out, and I know that I'm going to just use the Ever-Loving Stew out of it. This last caddy holds all of my different scissors. It's got my precision, from my little tiniest little precision scissors that I use to my Tim Holtz scissors, my cutter bees, all of my little scissors that I use on a regular basis are here. And I also added one of the Prima Vintage Finding Keys, some of the jute, and some of the seam binding. As you can see, maybe a little bit better on this jar. They are painted and distressed. This is a Wild Orchid Crafts flower, and I forgot to point that out on one of these other jars, Wild Orchid Craft Flower, that I took the Tattered Rose Distress marker and edged the petals, and then went back with a wet brush to fan that color out. I added the chipboard letter. I fussy cut one of the borders out from the paper and used that on the jar. And that's the last little jar on my little caddy. I hope that I've given you ample ways to be able to look at this caddy. I know that I will use it a lot. The Lazy Susan was $6 at the flea market, so just absolutely lucked out with that. And I wish that I could give you guys a different view of it, but maybe you guys can see it. I'll go ahead and spin it around one more time so that you guys can see it, and I'll try to go real slow. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to message me, and I'll be glad to get back to you. Just love the way this turned out. I'm just loving it. And leave me a comment, shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to get back with you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate your support. Until next time, bye now.